All right, Miss Boyd, we'll jump right into our meeting this week. So our focus will look at lesson 16. She came in and checked out yesterday. Awesome job. So we'll start off by celebrating some successes that I've noticed, and then I would love to hear from you.
Okay.
So shout out to you, number 2 in the region, yes?
Yay.
No, number 1 in the region. Number 2
in our nation.
Our nation,
Yay.
yes. So you had 67% of the scholars score proficient on the Module 2 Checkpoint 1. 20% approaching proficient. So you had a total of 87% of scholars demonstrating mastery across the grade.
Yay.
Shout out to you. What do you think? So, what are some successes that you want to celebrate? And then I'm going to ask you, like, what did you contribute to make these goals achievable?
Okay, as far as the checkpoint, so for the checkpoint, they did really, really well with the question and basically context clues, figuring out the meaning of unknown words, and I think that ties into even in yesterday's lesson. There was a word, I think it was like catwalk. And it was like, it said something that Luke is on the catwalk, comma, and it gave the definition. But it didn't say like a catwalk is. And so one of the strategies that I tell them is like, usually when there's an unknown word that we don't know, sometimes the author will give us the answer after the comma. So if we see a comma, keep reading, and that might help you figure out what the unknown word means. And so I constantly like tie that in and ask them whenever we get to a word, and it's like that. Okay, so what do you think this word means? Read the sentences before, read the sentences after. And
especially now that they're talking about the characteristics and having to look for those specific things that we were talking about in the lesson yesterday.
Yeah, so that was really a key thing. It's just reinforcing that strategy, and I think that really helped them master.
I mean, this has been like consistent for you, but I think this is one of the ones that they've outperformed. They just outperforming more and more people. And
for me, this one was a little more complex. Because figuring out unknown words, like you have to be able to use context
use all the other strategies.
Yeah.
So, thinking about that, today we're going to focus on the lesson that you taught yesterday, lesson 16. So, can you go ahead and just read the standard for me? Because that's going to help us ground us on what we're looking for.
So, this one was a focus standard, RL 2.7. Use information gained from the illustration in words in a print or digital text to demonstrate understanding of its character, setting, or plot.
And in your own words, what were scholars needing able to know and do to master this standard? And then we'll kind of dig it deeper. Specifically, what were they looking for in the exit ticket?
Okay, so in order to master the standard, they have to be able to use the pictures and, of course, the text in order to describe a character, whether it's the character's feelings, and kind of like draw inference from the pictures and the text in order to show that they understand a character.
So you already did the pre-work, right? So what specifically out of the knowledge and skills was the focus for aligned to what they had to do in the exit ticket?
Identify illustrations and explain how illustrations support the text. And also identify and be able to, just to be able to identify, and describe the story element specifically for this lesson, the character, because we were just focusing on the character.
So now let's take a look at what some of the scholars did. So I noticed in your lesson, right, you did a really great job of, one, you had the model right on the board of what scholars need to do, but then you took it bite-sized. You had them make the cheat charts. So you made it interactive with them so that it wasn't just like, all right, going off what you know, or having them do a quick turn talk. You were holding them accountable by actually having them write what information they got from the pictures, the facial expression. I remember specifically you were asking the body language. Like, what does that tell you of how that character was feeling? So let's take a look at one of your teacher exemplar, or the scholar.
One of the master, the one that demonstrated mastery.
And just read that. Can you just read it aloud?
We learned that he know all about the bridge.
Oh, what's the question?
So the exit ticket is write 1 to 2 sentences describing what you learned about Luke from page 15 through 16 of Mackinac Bridge. Circle at least one detail in the words and one detail in the picture. They didn't circle, obviously. I had them write it.
Yep.
We learned that he know all about the bridge, and he is building it with milk cartons and wires. And the text said the roadway the cars draw over will be held about a cradle of cables. They'll build a catwalk, a temporary path to walk down while they spin the wires, and she didn't finish the rest of it. She ran out of time.
Oh, gosh. So what out of that exemplar?
Made it an exemplar? That she was able to...
Or is there anything that you would add?
Yes, I would add more specific text evidence and specifically saying what she sees in the picture, because she says we learned that he knows all about the bridge, and that is a correct inference to draw, because on that page he talks a lot about a suspension bridge is this, and we'll use these cables to represent this, and milk cartons for the towers. So she understands that. From that, we can know that he knows a lot of information or knowledge about bridges.
But granted, specifically, what in the text made you...
And what in the picture, yeah.
And using that to conclude your answer.
Yeah.
And so what were some things that she did do well?
She stated, she drew a correct inference, basically describing or explaining what she learned about Luke from these 2 pages that we read.
And how does this question align with the standard?
So the standard wants them to use information from the pictures and text to describe a character. So she was able to basically describe, I can tell you Luke knows a lot about bridges because in the text it says, and in the pictures. That's what I would have wanted her to say in the text and in the pictures. But she just said, wait, we learned he knows all about the bridge.
And now let's look at someone who was like in the approaching that kind of got it.
Luke is going to be doing the catwalk. And I put a question mark there.
Right.
He has a lot of knowledge about the bridge. Yes, they are building a bridge. It helps me know Luke knows what the bridge is missing. And that was like, what do you mean what the bridge is missing? Someone else in the picture, I can't remember if this should have been over here or over there because I put a sad face. In the picture, Luke is building a bridge like a suspension. In the words, Luke talking to his brother how they would get the cables from one tower to another. And that's how Luke and his brother built the bridge, the Mackinac Bridge.
So what did he do? What did he do?
This was Chandler. The only thing Chandler was missing was that he didn't say what we learned about Luke. He had the evidence in the picture and what he says. He just didn't tell me, okay, what did you learn about Luke?
And I definitely grounded all of his in evidence.
Yeah, he has a lot of good evidence. He didn't finish either, but he still had enough that put him in approach, and he was just missing that one piece of that one sentence that tells me what you learned about Luke. Somebody else. Luke is building the suspension bridge with his brother in the photos. The text says, and Luke built their own bridge on the kitchen table. We learned that Luke wants to build the Mackinac Bridge.
What was his misconception? What did he miss?
The evidence wasn't clear.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what are you noticing about the scholars that did not meet the bar? Like, what are the common trends that you've been noticing as you
most of them don't know how to support their response and evidence. And if they do support their response to evidence, they aren't fully answering the whole question. Like, telling me what... Okay, so we know, you see in the pictures that they're building the bridge together. Yep, in the text, he's talking a lot about bridges and how they're going to build the bridge. So what does that tell you about Luke?
Right.
Oh, that tells me he must know a lot about bridges. Or
to draw those conclusions and making the connections.
And I do think that was a big jump for them to conclude, because throughout the lesson, we were doing this skill, but we were focusing on character feelings.
Yeah, I remembered. That's what I was wondering. I was like,
so it was, I feel like it was kind of a disconnect. Like, I get it. I get the exit ticket, but I feel like it should have been, to see if they truly understood this lesson, it should have been grounded on character feelings. Like,
so there was a little misalignment.
Yeah. Because even like the highlighted TDQs and even my model, it was Captain Hansen seems angry, like this is a response. It seems like Luke wants to explain about the bridge, but Captain Hansen doesn't want to listen. And all of that was truly evident. And they were able to explain all of this as we were walking through it together. And even here, where's Captain Hansen? What does it show about his feelings?
Right. So everything, and even when I was in the lesson, everything was looking at body language to look at this answer that has totally disconnected.
Yeah.
So I have an inkling of what our second graders might be able to do to kind of close this gap with the evidence. So we understand that there was a misalignment in the open-ended response. Did the multiple choice?
No, this was
questions?
yes.
Okay, that was the day before.
Yeah.
Okay. So just overall. So if you feel as though like when you're looking at the lesson plans and you're annotating, if you're looking at the exit ticket that they created and you feel like there is a misalignment,
just change it.
You can definitely,
Okay.
And not just so that we can truly assess them on what we were taught.
Yeah.
And not like, and this is truly what the exit ticket is, based on what we did on that day. And if there is something wrong, then we can maybe correct that in the do now. I saw you did that yesterday. Just a quick spiral to make sure they can stamp that understanding.
Okay.
Lastly, so now we're going to name it. So what do you think the key conceptual misunderstanding was for this? So we know it was misalignment. So taking that out, what do you think like the biggest trend was?
To kind of put them on target.
Yeah.
It's two parts. The first part is, okay, yep, I have the evidence. Now, how do I answer the question using my evidence? The second part is, I answered the question. I don't have the evidence, or I don't know how to identify the correct evidence to support my answer with this particular topic, because I think they do really well, like, on other standards, but, like, when it's more so inferencing, okay, now you have to find some evidence to help support that, or vice versa. You found the evidence, now you got to tell me your answer.
And how many scholars mastered it? I know this is a sample of just one class.
Yeah. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Oh.
10 master, approaching 5, 6, 7, 8. Approaching. And not yet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So,
and this one was a let me see.
It wasn't mastered, so we're gonna add them. So that's 6.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little more than half did not master. So would you feel more comfortable doing like a guided discourse, like meaning that we would show them the correct answer, show a couple other samples, and they were trying to extract and try and figure out what their missing parts was, or do you think it would be better just to kind of like put a pause, maybe use the first couple minutes of a lesson next week just to kind of do a true model of what it should look like?
So, I don't think I should do the discourse because I don't feel like the question, this exit ticket,
I agree.
Truly aligned. So, I would probably just I honestly would just use the whole reteach lesson.
I agree, and I was hoping you would say that.
Yeah.
So, one thing that came to mind immediately when I was thinking about, like, missing the evidence and to answer the question is thinking about race. I know we don't introduce that till, like, 3rd and 4th grade, but I think it would be powerful if we introduced it to them and we could scaffold down a little bit just so that it would be more friendly for them to understand.
Okay.
But the R, let's just go through it. R would be that they...
is it restate?
Yep, restate the question.
Okay.
And then we could create...
How can we adapt that?
Yes.
Even when they orally answer questions, they restate the question, and some of them like it takes forever to get the answer out.
So this is like something. So we could a fun way to do this would be just to give them basic questions. So like maybe doing like a bright work, like I don't know how.
Because what I want them to be able to do, even orally, is like if I ask you a question, just answer. Like you don't have to say like if I say what color dress is Miss Locks wearing today, the color dress that Miss Locks is wearing today is sense. Exactly.
And then I would even write exactly what they're saying. Read that out loud. Okay. Does that make sense? Like, what would you say to make this make sense?
Yeah.
And like I said, this would be something that we would go over and over again, and it would be scaffolding. But the R is to restate the question. R-A. The A is to answer the question, and this could be like on a chart.
Okay.
R-A-C, cite the evidence.
Okay.
R-A-C-E is explain. So kind of like tying it all up. And so what we can do now, we can take a few minutes and how we could, so this is race as it is, but how would we make it 2nd grade friendly so that they, don't look at my red lines.
I know.
How we could make it friendly for them to understand, but look, when you're giving that feedback going forward, like you could actually just write R, check, A, check, circle C, what is it that they're missing?
Okay.
And that could be like your coding so that they could go back and automatically know, what did I miss? And I know that we're doing our primary day on Friday, and that's exactly what we're looking at, is open-ended responses and sorting to see how well they're responding to the different parts of the question and trying to look for those trends and seeing some of the same trends that we're probably going to see on Friday. And I think introducing this could minimize the amount of not yets because at least they have it clear, almost like the criteria for success. In order for you to truly answer the question, all of these parts need to be not like a paragraph form, but We can take a few
We can
minutes
keep
to do this
it
right now.
RA. Maybe instead of site, just put T, like text evidence.
For RAT.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. There we go. And that's the kind of language. Yep.
Yeah.
Text evidence. Don't look at my red lines. We're going to change that. So they can still restate the question, and we can just give them simple at-bats of what that will look like.
Yeah.
Like you just said, Miss Dress is, what color is Miss Lock's dress? What color is Miss Lock's dress is? No.
That didn't make
and
sense.
if they're saying things like that, exactly,
Yeah.
how would you respond in a normal way? And I think that's something that in second grade, that is, they are truly writing how they talk.
Yep.
And then in third and fourth grade, we start to refine that. Okay, so how we talk is very different from how we write.
Right, but even how we talk, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Let's not even talk like that.
No.
I just think a lot of people like just allow them to just say,
No, stop the error, correct it, try again, and it's cool.
Yeah.
So answer the question. That's an easy one, right? Text evidence and explain. So maybe we could. How would you?
Explaining ties everything together.
Okay.
So when we explain, we state how the text evidence and our answer like come together.
And then we can make this super visual. We can make like a tie, like make it like a bow. Text evidence could be like a big circle. Answering is like you're just checking it, and then restating the question. Maybe we could like put a box. But in the anchor chart, it could be something very sticky for them. And that if you just say eat, how do I tie everything together?
Yeah.
And that's gonna help them on step 2. Oh
yeah.
My gosh.
Yes.
Crazy. So we decided that you're going to model this. What lesson next week?
We got a reteach lesson on Thursday.
Okay.
I think Thursday. Yep, because checkpoint is Friday. If it's not Thursday, it's Friday. It's at the end of the week. But I feel like they take the checkpoint on Friday.
Yeah, it feels like literally they did just take a checkpoint.
Yep, they just took one. Yep, sure did.
And we have like a script of the of what we're going to do.
Okay.
And what text would you use this with?
I could probably just take that I've already read. Pops Bridge. Yep, Pops Bridge. Because we just read that. And we didn't do this lesson with that.
So you're almost like do this lesson with a
Pops
different.
Bridge, yep.
So lesson 16 and 3. And then, so I know this is a sample of one class. Or is this like an outlier, or does this seem consistent with like how the other classes?
Yeah, it's pretty much consistent.
This is something we'll do for all 4 classrooms.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I will come in next week and I will actually follow up with you and see how this goes. So
okay. Let me tell you today. I want to say it is Thursday. I feel like it reteaches right before checkpoint 2.
And then as you're doing the model, so this is just like some best practices of like how to, when you're doing a reteach of a modeling. So you're going to name precisely the thinking when moving through a specific task. So you did an excellent job with this yesterday. Like you are always making your thinking visual so that kids never have to wonder like, how did Miss Boyd get this answer? No, like you were narrating what you're actually doing. So
and I'm like, during the lesson they did really
that's
like,
all you do.
They did great with the feelings. That's not, it was a disconnect.
And then just giving them a clear listening, note-taking task that fosters active listening. So as you're giving race, I would even have them writing that on their board just so that they're going along with you.
Okay.
And then they can do a quick turn and talk. What does that mean in your own words? Have them share out just so that you understand as you're going through it, they truly understand what it is that you're saying.
Okay.
And then like you always do, like see what did you notice? What did I do in my model?
Okay.
And then give them the at-bat. And then I would even, if you hold on,
we could probably
show them what they used to look like compared to and almost like their own discourse again, just to see like, oh wow.
Yeah, and we could during the model, it'll just be I'll be writing as they like we'll be doing it together. It is on Thursday.
Awesome. Was that the 14th? What?
Ooh,
I know.
Never mind.
That's Love Day.
Yep.
Which one of those days is your birthday? I know it's coming up.
13.
Okay, the day before.
We can do it. Can we do it on the 25th? Okay.
And like I said, this is a skill that there will be able to take long. So if it's not like tomorrow, if you don't get it, it's going to impact you on this. But it probably, definitely letting them do this before they get to the end of module, when they get that longer open-ended responses. And I'll touch base with the writing planners as well.
Okay.
Like, just start to introduce them
to race.
Yeah.
Rate.
Yes.
Yeah.
Rate.
Okay.
Yes. It is rate, then becomes race. And the language will change when they get to 3rd grade as well. They're just understanding. Synonym between it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
So you can either interchange it now, but I would definitely stick to T now, just so they have consistency.
Okay.
Awesome. Do you have any questions? Do you feel
No, this
prepared
was good.
for this? I'm excited.
Yes, this was really good.
Yay, I'm glad you found it helpful.
This was great.
Well, I will come back real